Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto died and sent to the My Little Pony universe with Harem? Part 8. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. What do you mean by we lost this game? Said Twilight while glaring at Discord, who was sitting on a couch and eating popcorn all the while laughing at them. Ever since they ventured into the maze in search of the elements of harmony in order to bring down the Draconiquus, weird things had been happening to them, and Twilight noticed that her friends had been acting strangely as well as their body appearing grey except her and Naruto. Applejack has been lying a lot, Pinkie Pie disliking anything and everything, Fluttershy being rude, Rarity acting all possessive on a large boulder that she claims to be a diamond, Rainbow Dash abandoning them, and Naruto facing down what appears to be his dark side. Whatever do you mean, my dear Twilight? Asked Discord, pretending looking clueless. Stop playing around, Discord, you haven't been playing fair, said Twilight angrily. I'm not playing fair. I believe that you've forgotten a certain small detail. I am a being of chaos and disharmony, all part of my job description, so do it. How are we supposed to find the elements of harmony when you took the labyrinth before we could get to the end? Discord looked at Twilight with surprise. Hold on, you actually thought that the elements were in the labyrinth? Ha 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 ha. What's so funny? You better not be laughing at me, Pinkie Pie said angrily. Not to worry, I was finding it amusing that your friend thought the elements were in the labyrinth, said Discord while laughing. But it's like you said, twists and turns, which describes the labyrinth, said Twilight. Goes to show that you weren't exactly paying attention to what I was saying before. Discord took out a tape recorder and pressed the play button for Twilight to listen. Twists and turns are my master plan. Then find the elements back where you began. Twilight had a look of realization upon hearing those words. Then that means. That's right, I never said that they were in the labyrinth. But don't worry, I'm sure that the magic of your friendship will help you. In the meantime, I have a tight schedule of chaos to attend to. Discord snapped his fingers and disappeared in a flash of light. Then the pink clouds loomed overhead and began to rain chocolate milk on the ponies. Chocolate milk, I hate chocolate milk, said Pinkie Pie with a look of annoyance. Think, Twilight, think, where could Discord have hidden the elements? Said Twilight thoughtfully. Don't you dare touch my diamond. Twilight turned to see Rarity carrying the large rock on her back and glaring at Applejack. Why not? You said that we could split it between all 7 of us, said Applejack while looking anywhere but at Rarity. That's a lie and you know it, so back away from it. Then Fluttershy flew over Rarity and touched the rock with a smirk on her face. And what if I don't back away? Then you're gonna be in big trouble, said Rarity. You girls stop that. Ugh, this is giving me a headache, wish I could just go home and get some. Twilight stopped in the middle of her muse when a certain thought crossed her mind. Home, back where you began, that's it. That's where elements could be, in Ponyville. Twilight turned to get the attention of the others. Hey guys, I figured out a part of Discord's riddle. The elements must be in Ponyville, so we need to get going. You girls will have to go without me, said Naruto. Every pony looked to see him staring intently at his doppelganger, who looked amused. But Naruto, Twilight began. Right now I get the feeling that my dark side wants to have a one-on-one talk with me, so you girls go on ahead and find the elements. I'll finish things up here and then catch up with you. Okay, come on girls, let's go, said Twilight. And what if I don't want to? Fluttershy snorted. Arg, just come on. Twilight walked off with the rest begrudgingly following her. Once they were gone, the doppelganger let out a dark chuckle. I thought that they would never leave. I'm kinda surprised that you didn't attack me while Twilight and the others, said Naruto. And for you to get distracted during the fight. No way, I want this to be an all-out fight without any distractions. In that case, let's get started. Naruto took a stance as his body emitted white chakra. I couldn't agree more. Yami. Naruto took a similar stance, only that his body was emitting black chakra. Both sides stared at each other intently without moving as they waited for the other to make the first move. Music start. Naruto original soundtrack, Rikiri, Thunder Break. The one to make it was Naruto as he raised a forehoof and pointed it at Yami. Naruto before calling out. Chakra bullet. Rapid fire. Then a white rune appeared and small white orbs shot out of it straight towards Yami. Naruto, who then formed a pair of chakra tendrils that whipped in front of him, rapidly deflected the incoming projectiles into random directions before lashing out at Naruto. Naruto jumped to the left to avoid the first tendril and leapt into the air to dodge the second, but the tendrils changed directions and continued to pursue him. Naruto quickly channeled chakra to his front hooves to form chakra claws before somersaulting in midair to face the tendrils and proceeded to slash them apart. Not bad but not good either, Hikaru. Naruto heard Yami's voice from above him and turned around just to receive a punch to the face, which sent him plummeting to the ground below. The pony ninja right himself just in time to land on his hooves and glared at the doppelganger, who landed not too far from him. Why you shadow clone jutsu? Several clones appeared alongside Naruto as he charged forward at his opponent. Typical strategy as always, you haven't changed a bit. Well, two can play at that game, Shadow Clone Jutsu. A similar number of clones appeared at Yami's side before they charged as well. The clones of each side picked an opponent to fight against, while the originals engaged each other in close combat as they threw punches and kicks, with neither side gaining an advantage. Naruto was able to land a few hits, but in turn received a few hits from Yami. Naruto and Yami leapt backwards just as their clones disappeared in puffs of smoke upon fighting to a draw. Chakra Horn Thrust. Naruto sped forward as his horn was covered in chakra which elongated into a long sharp version. The same could be said for Yami, who charged as well with his black variation. Both sides clashed at the same time and struggled for dominance. Damn it, this guy's countering me move for move. Thought Naruto angrily while pushing back against the doppelganger. Hey Hikaru, if you're thinking that I'm countering you with your own moves, then you better get rid of that thought cause I'm just as original as you are. Let me show you just what I mean. Yami Naruto pushed Naruto backwards before raising a hoof as a black rune appeared chakra shotgun. The dark blast of chakra shot out of the rune and slammed into Naruto, which sent him flying backwards and tumbling along the ground before finally skidding to a stop. Naruto struggled to his hooves and looked at a smirking Yami Naruto in disbelief. What sort of technique is that? I never created a move like that, how did you know it? It goes to show how you waste the potential on foolish things like friends that could betray us, just like Sasuke did when he killed us. Sasuke did not betray us, he wasn't in his right mind. Like Neji said to us, Sasuke was in the darkness and everyone entrusted it to me to bring him out of it and back home. Had we failed and Sasuke went to Orochimaru, he would have ended up like Gaara was or even worse. Said Naruto. At least Gaara had the right idea back then, because of that people thought twice before they tried to mess with him. Something we could have done instead of you playing those stupid pranks just to get their attention and scorn, said Yami Naruto while frowning at Naruto. And to truly be alone? Not a chance. Then I'll just have to make you see the benefits before getting rid of you. Like I'm going to let that happen. Pyro breath. Naruto opened his mouth to unleash a stream of flames at Yami. I don't think so, Aqua stream. Yami Naruto's horn glowed in a black aura as the rain from the pink clouds converged to form a stream which collided with the flames, resulting in steam covering the area. Naruto looked around in the steam to catch any trace of Yami, then a chakra bullet come out of nowhere and almost hit Naruto had he not tilted his head to the side for it to graze his cheek. Several more shots pierced through the steam and pelted his body despite efforts to evade them. Enough of this, Windflaw dash. Naruto started to run in circles while covered with a wind at high speed, then the steam was blown away to reveal Yami Naruto standing before him, with a hoof raised and a magic rune active. Naruto glared at his doppelganger before holding out a hoof to the side as chakra converged around it and took on the form of a white spinning sphere. Yami Naruto smirked as he did the same, except that his was a black spinning sphere. Grayson. Naruto launched his attack. Ban. Yami Naruto launched his as well. Blasts of wind blew throughout the area as the energy from the collision of the two spheres raged like a miniature storm, with streaks of black and white flying around. Give up now while you can Hikaru, you can't win against me. Shouted Yami Naruto. I'm not gonna lose to you Yami. Yelled Naruto. An explosion occurred from the clashing techniques which sent both ponies flying far away in opposite directions, leaving behind a much larger crater than earlier before. Music end. We found the elements, they were here the whole time. Said Twilight happily. She and the others had arrived at Ponyville which had completely changed and everything didn't look right or even make a bit of sense thanks to Discord's chaotic magic. They made their way to the library where Twilight had Spike retrieve the book that helped them find the elements of harmony in the beginning. The book was found, but apparently Fluttershy and the other mares decided to fool around with it much to Twilight's annoyance. They had a short scuffle which resulted in Twilight finally getting her hooves on, then she flipped through the pages before finding all of the elements of harmony safely stored inside. This is great, we can finally defeat Discord now that we have the elements. However, Twilight didn't receive a positive as everyone just ignored her completely. You girls don't even care, do you? Nope. They all responded. I can't believe that my friends have turned into complete jerks. Now put on your necklace and let's go. Twilight used her magic to place elements on their respective bearers and was making her way out of the library when Spike ran up to her looking worried. Twilight, wait, aren't you missing some pony? Asked Spike. Well, we've got the liar, the grump, a hoarder and the brute which just about covers it. Twilight glared at the girls as she said so. But what about Rainbow Dash? Twilight thought for a few seconds before coming up with an idea. Congratulations Spike, you're the new bearer for the element of loyalty, now let's go. Twilight placed the said element around Spike's neck and walked away. But what if she finds out I was impersonating her? It definitely won't end well, and what about Naruto? Well, that's too bad, you're Rainbow Dash now, and Naruto is busy dealing with his evil twin brother and might show up late anyway. Since 6 of the elements were able to defeat Discord, then we should be able to do it without Naruto showing up beforehand. The sooner we do it, then the sooner I won't have to talk to them again. Twilight walked away angrily. For once we're in total agreement, said Fluttershy with a smirk as she followed Twilight along with the rest. They had come out of the library where they saw Discord waiting outside while enjoying the chaos which was going on around him. I see you found the elements of harmony, said Discord. That's right, we figured out that lame riddle of yours and you're in for it now, said Twilight. Oh no, my time of defeat is at hand. Whatever shall I do, for I'm doomed? Discord feigned terror. Very well, you may strike me whenever you're ready. Then he had a bull's eye appear on his chest before leaning against a nearby tree. Gladly, alright girls, let's do this. Twilight's tiara let out a bright glow of energy, with the same going for the others except Spike. However, before the Twilight unleashed the power of the elements, the magic dissipated just like that without any kind of warning, much to her shock and confusion. What happened? Why didn't it work? Said Twilight confusedly. Mine is working alright, the problem must have come from you. Applejack pointed accusingly at Twilight. I hate the elements of harmony, said Pinkie Pie. I knew that it was garbage. Fluttershy tossed hers away without a care in the world. Mine. Rarity quickly snatched it up. Twilight, I gotta get back to the library since I have a lot of cleanup to do. Spike nervously placed the element next to Twilight before scampering back to the library, although he got tripped up by Fluttershy. Oops, sorry about that, said Fluttershy, not looking sorry at all. Congratulations, you've just proven that harmony is dead and chaos rules. Which means Discord's the winner and Equestria is the loser. I bid you all adieu. Discord flew away from them laughing all the way with Twilight glaring at him. I hate all of this. I'm out of here. Pinkie Pie hopped away from the group. Pinkie Pie, wait, we need to wait for Naruto to come and help us take down Discord, said Twilight. Why should we wait for him? For all we know he could have abandoned us just like Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy snorted before flying away as well. That could be true, besides I have things to do at the farm where I have better friends. Applejack was the next to go. I'm not taking any chances in case he comes after what's mine. Rarity was the last while taking the rock with her, leaving Twilight all alone. I can't believe that you girls would fine. See if I care, I don't need any of you either. With friends like you, who needs enemies? Twilight looked down sadly as the color on her body slowly turned to gray and walked away. Discord was watching from above the clouds with a victorious smirk on his face. With this I've truly won, and there's no one who can stop my reign of chaos. Meanwhile, Naruto was dragging himself out of a crater which resulted from his crashing to the ground due to the explosion from the double Rasengan. He looked at himself to see that his hoodie jacket is now in tatters. And here I thought that Sasuke's Chidori and my Rasengan could cause an explosion. Guess a double Rasengan could do the same, Naruto muttered. Suddenly he sensed something rapidly approaching from above and dashed to the left just in time to avoid something hitting where he stood. He looked up to see Yami Naruto flying above him with wings made out of black chakra from his back. Peekaboo, I see you, Yami Naruto. Naruto simply glared at the doppelganger before activating his own chakra wings to take to the sky and face him. Now that break time is over, let's pick up where we left off. You're right, but I intend to make this short cause Twilight and the others are waiting for me to help defeat Discord. Naruto closed his eyes as he concentrated on his chakra burst mode. He prepared for the chakra be unleashed from his body but nothing happened. Chakra burst mode. He tried again, but the power still didn't come like it always did. What's going on? Yami Naruto looked amused and decided to speak up. I forgot to tell you this, but when Discord let me out, I happened to take half of your chakra along with me in order to sustain myself. So in other words, you can't use chakra burst mode anymore. What? Give it back. Naruto yelled. Make me? Yami Naruto sneered. Shadow clone jutsu. A large group of clones appeared and surrounded Yami before rushing at the same time to attack. Humph, predictable. Bolt chain. Yami's horn glowed for a moment before a stream of black lightning shot out and struck a clone, then arcing off to hit another, which continued until a majority of the clones disappeared from taking too much damage. The remaining swooped in with their horns glowing as they prepared to launch a magic spell. Icicle shot. Sharp pointed ice projectiles appeared before racing towards Yami, whose horn was glowing again. Fire lance. Several spears made entirely of flames appeared and shot towards the icicle, causing them to melt away from the heat and turn into the steam which surrounded Yami Naruto. Yami sensed something burst through the thick steam and darted to the left to avoid an attack from a shadow clone before another rushed in for an attack. He kept dodging until suddenly something grabbed him from behind. It was a chakra arm courtesy of the original Naruto. He spun around a few times before throwing Yami towards the ground, which resulted in a crater being formed. Take this, chakra bullet. Rapid fire. Naruto held his front hooves forward and proceeded to launch a barrage of small wide orbs towards Yami, which kicked up clouds of dust as he kept firing, and now to end it, chakra cannon. Then he fired a large chakra sphere with the recoil pushing him back a bit, creating an explosion upon impact. Naruto descended towards the ground and looked at the crater to see any signs of movement from his opponent and let out a sigh of relief. Now that's over with, I better get back to the girls and take down Discord once and for all. Naruto turned to leave and received a haymaker punch to the face, which sent him flying back a few feet. He painfully got back up and looked up only to be shocked to see Yami Naruto standing before with a smirk on his face. How were you able to evade my attacks? It's really simple, I used the Terra bunker to shield myself within the dust cloud and used the chakra claws to burrow underground and take you by surprise. You should recognize this strategy as it's the improvised version of the one you used on Neji during the Chunin exams, said Yami Naruto. Naruto was panting and looked fatigued. Damn, I'm running low on chakra, what else can I do to beat this guy? I can see that you're exhausted, Hikaru, but it just goes to show that. Yami Naruto rushed forward and punched Naruto in the face. I'm stronger than you, a hit to the chest, better than you, another hit to the face, and most important of all, an uppercut which knocked Naruto into the air before plummeting towards Yami, who had a Rasengan ready. I'm the true Naruto. He rammed the spinning sphere into Naruto, who screamed out in pain and was sent flying very far away. Yami Naruto smirked before activating his chakra wings and fly after Naruto in direction of Ponyville. Twilight had returned to her home and headed upstairs to her room with the intention to pack her belongings and leave for Canterlot, but she was surprised to see a large heap of scrolls and Spike laid on the floor looking quite worn out. Spike, what's going here? Asked Twilight confusedly. The princess had been sending these scrolls ever since I came back upstairs, Spike moaned before belching out a green flame for another one of the scrolls to appear and fall on the heap. Please make it stop. Twilight levitated one of the scrolls over and opened it to read the contents, her eyes widened upon seeing what it contained. This must be one of the letters I wrote to Princess Celestia since I arrived to Ponyville about friendship, but why would she send them back? Regardless, Twilight started to read them one by one, and as she read, she recalled the good times she had and the lessons learned along with her friends. The gray was slowly disappearing and her original color was returning. Twilight looked up from the latest scroll and saw something sitting on top of the dresser. It was a picture of her and her friends. Naruto was in the middle grinning like a fox, Rainbow Dash hovered above him and was leaning on his spiky mane while grinning as well, Pinkie Pie was on his left side and hugging him while laughing, Twilight was on his right side and smiling at the camera. Rarity was next to Twilight while wearing a fancy purple sun hat with flowers, Applejack was next to Pinkie Pie and looked like she had tossed her Stetson hat into the air, and Fluttershy was at the far left smiling bashfully at the camera. I remember that day, we were having a picnic at Naruto's favorite spot. Flashback. They were all sitting in the shade of the large oak tree that grew on the top of tall hill overlooking Ponyville. They were relaxing after playing a few games and eating which Pinkie Pie brought from the sugar cube corner and the ones Naruto cooked and brought over from his home. Ooh-wee. That was a lot of fun we've had today, guys, said Applejack while taking a bite of dango from the stick. I must say that today was perfect for relaxing after all those deadlines I had in the past few days. Rarity was sipping a cup of green tea. And the birds really like it here. Fluttershy looked at her bird friends perching on the branches of the trees looking comfortable. And I got to show off my sport skills, said Rainbow Dash flying overheard. This is the perfect place to read too. Twilight was currently doing the said activity. We need to plan a picnic party after this. Pinkie Pie hopped around happily, every pony shook their heads in amusement at hearing this. All in all, I have to say that being friends with you girls has been one of the best things to have happened to me. I'm sure I can say the same for you, right? Said Naruto with a smile. The mares smiled in return and nodded in agreement. You got that right, Naruto, I wouldn't have found my fellow speedster if we weren't friends, said Rainbow Dash. I really like spending time with you, Fluttershy spoke in barely a whisper. I love making friends, we would always have different sorts of fun, said Pinkie Pie. I have to agree that meeting you has been one of my happiest moments, said Rarity with a smile. Me too, we've been having a pretty good time ever since we met, said Applejack. When I first came to Ponyville, I thought that there was no need for friendship. But it's because of our friendship that we were able to defeat Nightmare Moon and rescue Princess Luna. I also learned so many things whenever I'm with you, said Twilight. Yeah, we now share a bond which will last for a very long time. Like my friend Haku once told me, when a person has something precious that they want to protect, then they become genuinely strong. Those words made me come a long way since then, said Naruto with a warm smile. So what exactly is precious to us? Rainbow Dash curiously. For me, it's each and every one of you, and I promise to protect all of you no matter what happens. You won't be the only one, partner, I'll also protect our friendship. Applejack held out a hoof, Naruto smiled and placed a hoof over hers. You can count me in, the fastest pony in all of Ponyville," said Rainbow Dash while putting in a hoof. "And I as well," said Rarity, placed hers as well. "Me too Naru, me too," said Pinkie Pie, happily placing a hoof over theirs. "Me too," Fluttershy timidly joined in. "And I promise to protect our bond, after all friendship is magic," said Twilight, with every pony nodding in agreement, and afterwards took a group photo to commemorate it. Flashback end. Twilight smiled happily from the memory as her color was fully restored. "That's right, we all promised to protect our friendship because we cared for each other and were always there to provide support. It all makes sense now." "What do you mean, Twilight?" Spike groaned. "Whenever one of us works alone, they can barely accomplish, but together we can do anything. Discord knew of this, and that's why he separated us in the labyrinth and messed with our heads to prevent us from using the elements of harmony. So right now I'm going to restore the bond with my friends, they're all counting me, and show Discord how strong our friendship really is. Naruto is counting on us too." "Well, good luck, Twilight, in the meantime I'll be taking a nap." Spike crawled over to his bed and laid there exhausted. "Sure thing, Spike." Twilight galloped out of the library and was making her way towards the Sweet Apple Acres. "Don't worry guys, our bond won't be so easily broken by Discord." "Jaya!" Naruto cried out as he crashed into the ground and tumbled along before finally skidding to a stop. He slowly got back to his feet, all the while pain shot throughout his body and exhaustion made it feel heavy. Then he heard something landed before him and looked up to see Yami Naruto walking slowly towards him and had a look of disappointment. "Look at yourself, all battered and beaten. I told you that I would make you see how strong you would have been had you cared for no one but yourself and that you wouldn't be betrayed," said Yami Naruto. "And I told you that I don't want it if it meant that I would be alone for the rest of my life," Naruto replied. "Even after all this, you still refuse to see what I'm trying to show you. What a disappointment, then I might as well put you out of your misery." Yami held out a hoof as a black rune appeared and prepared to fire, and Naruto looked at him defiantly. "Goodbye Hikaru, chakra cannon." A large black sphere shot out of the rune and headed straight towards Naruto. "Damn it, it can't end like this. I can't lose here, every pony's counting on me to help defeat Discord," thought Naruto, feeling frustrated as the dark drew close to finish him off. Suddenly something appeared between him and the incoming projectile, then he heard a very familiar voice call out. "Protect." The transparent dome appeared and deflected the projectile. Naruto looked at who appeared from out of nowhere to protect him from the attack and recognized who it was. "Derpy, is that you?" said Naruto in shock. It was indeed Derpy the Pegasus, who had stood before Naruto and defended him against the attack from Yami with a barrier crystal which he had given to her some time ago as a gift for her and a smaller one for her daughter Dinky. "What are you doing here?" "I had taken Dinky home for safety and was on my way to find Carrot Top when I saw that you were about to be hurt, then I suddenly found myself standing here and used the barrier crystal that you gave to me to protect you," said Derpy. "I'm thankful for what you did, but you need to get out of here, it's too dangerous. You better listen to him and get out of my way if you don't want to get hurt. That impostor behind you needs to disappear as I'm the real Naruto," said Yami Naruto in a smug tone. "No, I won't, I refuse to believe that you're the real Naruto," said Derpy angrily. "And what makes you so sure about that? Who do you think is the true Naruto?" "The real Naruto is a nice and kind pony who's friends with every pony and is always willing to help without a second thought. He always keeps his promises and never turns his back on a pony in need, every pony smiles when they see him. That's the real Naruto, not you." "Derpy," Naruto looked at the cross-eyed Pegasus in awe. Yami Naruto glared angrily and raised a hoof to attack. "Then I'll just have to force you out of my way." Music start. Naruto original soundtrack, strong and strike. Ba bump. What's this? Thought Naruto. Ba bump, ba bump. This feeling, it's so familiar. Ba bump, ba bump, ba bump, ba bump. I remember now, I felt like when I fought against Gaara. This overflowing strength burning through me as if I'm on fire, the feeling that I have to win this battle no matter what, even if it puts my life at risk. Yami Naruto got ready to fire. "Out of my way, chakra can." Something blurred right in front of him, and before he could even wonder what it was, he felt a powerful blow slam into his face, which sent him flying. He got and looked only to be shocked that it was Naruto, who was supposed to be exhausted, had actually countered his move with a powerful punch and was emitting white chakra from his battered body. "Looks like you still have something left in the tank." And he wasn't the only one surprised, as Derpy was looking at Naruto in wonder. "Naruto, you showed me how strong you are when you're alone, now it's my turn to show you the strength that comes from my bond with others," said Naruto. Then he dashed forwards in a zigzag pattern and engaged Yami in close combat and was throwing punches and kicks and even included his tail in the mix. Yami was deflecting and blocking the incoming attacks, but he noticed that for some strange reason that the strength behind them were stronger than before. What's going on? He wasn't this strong before, he thought frantically. Chakra horn thrust. Naruto charged forward with his horn covered in chakra. Yami sidestepped hastily to avoid the blitz attack, but Naruto wasn't done yet. Shadow clone jutsu. The clone appeared, who then launched a chakra tendril to wrap around him and whirled about to launch him like a slingshot. Naruto curled up into a ball and slammed into Yami to send him skidding backwards from the powerful impact. I never would have thought that he would come up with a combo like that. I should have seen it coming, thought Yami, smarting from the pain. He looked up to see Naruto launching a punch and quickly blocked it, but then Naruto closed his eyes and opened his mouth wide to reveal a white crystal which unleashed a bright flash of light, forcing Yami to close his eyes and leaving himself vulnerable. Shadow clone jutsu. Naruto summoned 5 of his clones who stood next to him and faced Yami. One of the clones rushed forward and punched the doppelganger. The original Naruto stepped on the clone's back, launched himself into the air. Naruto. The remaining 3 clones all performed a double kick simultaneously, sending the Yami into the air. Uzumaki barrage. Naruto stomped on Yami, sending him plummeting to the ground, where a clone waiting with his hoof held out and white rune active chakra cannon. A large sphere shot out and made impact as Yami was sent tumbling away. This is impossible, you can't be this powerful. Yami yelled in anger and disbelief while getting back to his feet. This strength comes from my desire to protect my friends from both the elemental nations and Equestria. I've got the best of both worlds, Naruto spoke happily. You're lying. I refuse to believe that your strength came making friends, it's completely useless. Then let's put it to the test with our strongest attacks. Naruto held out a hoof and started to form the Rasengan, but he didn't stop there as his horn glowed an orange aura which flowed into the sphere, causing streaks of orange to appear in it. Gladly, Yami Naruto held out a hoof to form his Rasengan. Derpy stood from a safe distance and watched worriedly as the 2 ponies prepared to clash. Please be careful, Naruto. Then they dashed towards each other at high speed before thrusting out their spheres to collide once more. Rasengan! Shouted Yami Naruto. Magical Rasengan! Yelled Naruto. The struggle was at stalemate before Naruto's new variation of the Rasengan began to dominate, much to Yami's shock. No. This can't be. No. Yami Naruto was blasted away in a wide and orange streak of light very high into the sky until any sight of him was gone. Music end. I won, Naruto smiled wearily at his hard-earned victory over his dark side. Then he heard flapping of wings and turned to see Derpy approaching with a smile on her face. You did it, Naruto, you won, said Derpy happily. Yeah, and it was thanks to you, you helped rekindle my will of fire. So what happens now? Right now I have to go help Twilight and the girls settle things with Discord once and for all. Okay, but please be careful. Naruto nodded in affirmation, then he activated his aura sight and looked around before locating their aura signatures and was happy upon sensing that they're back to normal. Hold on, girls, I'm coming. He took off down the road in order to meet up with them. Discord was currently sitting on a throne and drinking a glass of chocolate while enjoying the sight of flying pigs, dancing buffaloes dressed in tutus and such. Ah, chaos is a wonderful, wonderful thing, said Discord. Not as wonderful as the power of friendship. The Draconicus looked to the source of the voice to see Twilight and her friend standing by her side. You're back with this again? That's right. You couldn't break our friendship with those dirty tricks of yours for long, said Applejack. Unless you've forgotten that I'm the one who made you a liar. I see that none of you have learned a thing from what happened before. Discord used his magic to drag the elements along with the mares towards him, but Twilight quickly teleported in between them and used her magic to create a purple force field which carried them away from the Draconicus. We didn't need to learn anything, all you did was help us remember the promise that we made a long time ago. To always be there for each other even in difficult times. Our bond is what makes us strong, and it's definitely worth fighting for. Discord let out a yawn. Enough with the boring speeches already, and from what I see you're all still an element short, purity to be exact. Naruto will show up, there's no way he's gonna miss out on kicking your butt, said Rainbow Dash. That's right, said Pinkie Pie. Truer words couldn't be spoken, the very pony whom they were talking about had landed before them, although they became worried upon seeing his current condition. Naruto, are you okay? You're hurt, said Fluttershy. Naruto turned to smile at the shy mare. Don't worry, Shy, I still have enough energy left to deal with this walking zoo. How were you able to defeat your dark side? Asked Discord, who was in shock. Let's just say that my will of fire was too hot for him, Naruto smirked, but now it's time to end this. His element floated away from Twilight and settled itself around his neck before glowing along with the other elements. Naruto leapt high into the air and then felt something like a voice at the back of his mind to form a Rasengan. Recognizing it from when he faced Nightmare Moon, Naruto complied and formed the technique, then streaks of magic shot out from the girl's elements and floated into the sphere along with Naruto's to form a spiraling vortex of multiple colors. What's this? Said Discord confusedly. This is the power of our friendship. Harmonic Rasengan. Naruto dived towards Discord and rammed the collaboration technique into the Draconequus. "No!" Discord screamed out right before turning back into a stone statue. The magic continued to radiate throughout Ponyville, reverting everything back to normal. Naruto, Twilight and the others approached to look at the statue of the defeated Discord with smiles on their faces. "You lose, Discord," said Naruto. "And that means we won. Let's have a party," said Pinkie Pie, hopping around. "We totally kicked butt." Rainbow Dash pumped a hoof in victory. "But first we need to check if every pony is alright and also get Naruto to the hospital for treatment," said Twilight, with the other mares agreeing. Normally Naruto would stubbornly disagree, but right now his fatigue was taking its toll and so allowed himself to be taken to the hospital. A few days later, the group returned to Canterlot Castle. They entered through a doorway where they saw a large crowd of ponies waiting for them, with Princess Celestia and Princess Luna standing at the end of the room with smiles on their faces. While making their way to the end, Naruto saw Derpy standing amongst the crowd and winked at her, causing the Pegasus to turn away with a blush. They climbed up the stairs and turned to face everyone before Princess Celestia began to speak for all to hear. "We are gathered here today to once again honor the heroism of these 7 friends who stood up to the villain Discord and saved Equestria from eternal chaos." Every pony cheered out loud. Twilight, Applejack and Pinkie Pie smiled. Rainbow Dash and Rarity felt at home in the praise, while Fluttershy felt a bit timid from all the attention and stood close to Naruto, who was waving at them. Princess Celestia pointed at some closed curtains before Princess Luna used her magic to open them, which revealed another one of the stained glass windows. This one showed Twilight and the girls facing down Discord, with Naruto attacking with the Harmonic Rasengan to finish off the Draconequus. "This was our victory. As long as our bond with each other stays strong, we can accomplish anything," thought Naruto while standing alongside his friends. Somewhere over 100 miles away from either Ponyville or Canterlot, we see a large smoking crater and noticed a long trail of hoofsteps leading into a dark forest. A dark chuckle could be heard from within it. "Who does this evil laughter belong to?" It has been several weeks since the return of the God of Chaos Discord, as well as his defeat by Naruto and the mares. Things have pretty much gone back to normal, with every pony doing their day-to-day activities. Speaking of which, let's turn our attention to one such pony who happens to be Ponyville's veterinarian Fluttershy, as she's currently at her home taking care of the sick animals. "Now make sure to take a pill after every meal, and you'll be better in no time at all," said Fluttershy, after giving a small bag of medicinal tablets to a small raccoon. The animal chittered in thanks before taking the small bag in its mouth before making its way out of Fluttershy's home. She let out a sigh as she watched her recent patient leave. "That would make my 13th for the day, but I'm glad that they're feeling better now." Fluttershy felt something poking her leg and looked down to see that it was her pet Angel Bunny, who was trying to grab her attention. "What is it, Angel Bunny, do you need something?" asked Fluttershy curiously. Angel nodded and pointed upwards. Fluttershy looked in his direction until her eyes set upon a calendar hanging from the wall. She noticed that one particular date was marked with a red marker and had several butterfly drawings around it. Her eyes widened upon realizing what it meant. "Oh. Tomorrow's the day of the big butterfly migration, and I almost forgot about it. Thanks for reminding me, Angel." Fluttershy gave the bunny a hug, though he was struggling to break out of her grip. "Maybe I should bring one of my friends with me to watch." She heard thumping on the ground and saw Angel flapping his arms rapidly, as if trying to fly. Fluttershy caught on to what the bunny was trying to say. "You mean Rainbow Dash? I brought her along with me to watch last time, and she'll be busy with the weather tomorrow. I should go and check to see if the skies will be clear tomorrow." Then Angel proceeded to hop around in long strides. "Pinkie Pie. She's making plans for a surprise birthday party for a filly this week, and she even gave me an invite." Angel then picked up a nearby thread and swung over his head like a lasso. "Applejack's going to be very busy with the apple bucking, and I heard that applebuck season is coming around again." Angel wrapped a handkerchief around it and walked around daintily. Rarity might be a little busy to join, since she'll be focusing on her next big project. Angel was then seen reading a book. "Angel, we both know that Twilight will be too busy with her studies to join us. I'm thankful for all those suggestions, but they won't be able to make time to come and watch the butterfly migration with me," said Fluttershy. But Angel Bunny shook its head. You mean that there's someone I could ask, but who?" Knock knock. Suddenly there was knocking on the door. She walked over to it and opened up only to be taken by surprise upon who was behind it. "Naruto." "Hi Shy," said Pony, waved at her with a foxy grin, and Aoi the Blue Jay tweeted in greeting. "What brings you here?" asked Fluttershy. Actually, Naruto began to tell her what happened before making his way to her place. Flashback start. Naruto sat within the shade underneath the branches of the great oak tree at his favorite spot, with his eyes closed as he was currently meditating. His chakra calmly emitted from his body before receding. He opened his eyes but frowned a bit. I still can't access my chakra burst mode, and my chakra doesn't feel complete. Could it be that? No, that's impossible. We had sealed Discord away, and his spells were broken, so it should mean that Yami's gone for good. Maybe I should wait to recover a bit more, till then I could use this time to practice on my wind element. Naruto summoned a couple of shadow clones who stood before him in attention. Okay guys, time for a little training. Each of you should pluck a leaf and try to slice it in half with your wind chakra. Okay boss. The clones spoke in unison before performing a chakra-enhanced jump to reach the branches and pluck a leaf with their mouths before landing back on the ground. Then they each held a leaf in between their hooves and closed their eyes in concentration in order to channel the wind chakra through the leaf. Naruto raised a hoof before him and channeled his chakra to form a Rasengan and watched as it spiraled around in its spherical form. If I were to infuse my wind chakra into the Rasengan, I can barely imagine the kind of power that would result from it. He stopped channeling chakra into the sphere for it to dissipate and turned to look at Ponyville, then his mind strayed to his battle with his dark side. What he said couldn't have been what I felt deep within. It might be true that I didn't like how they treated me, but I understood their reason even if it was partially wrong, but I don't really hate the village, do I? Naruto was so deep in thought that he didn't hear the sound of wings flapping from above, even when something settled on top of his spiky mane. Though he did notice when the something made itself known by pecking his head a few times. Ow, ow, ow. Who did that? Naruto looked up at the perpetrator, and his eyes widened in surprise at who he saw. Aoi, is that you? Where have you been all this time? Aoi tweeted in response, but Naruto couldn't make heads or tails of what she's saying. Sorry Aoi, I don't really understand what you're saying, maybe Fluttershy could help translate what you're saying. Aoi let out a tweet as if agreeing with what he suggested, then he turned to call out to his shadow clones. Okay guys, let's see what you've got. All of the clones grinned at him before opening their hooves to reveal that all of the leaves have been cleanly sliced in half. We finally got the hang of it, so we plucked up some more leaves to completely master this exercise, boss, said one of the clones. Sure enough, several pieces of leaves strewn all around the place to testify to that. Good job guys, this means that we can advance to the next wind manipulation exercise, so you can all dispel now, said Naruto. The clones all nodded in affirmation before disappearing in puffs of smoke, although he flinched a bit from the memories. Alright then, let's head on over to Shy's place. Then they made their way towards Fluttershy's home. Flashback end. And that's when we came here, Naruto finished his story. Oh, I have been wondering where Aoi could have been as I haven't been seeing her around for a while, said Fluttershy. Aoi tweeted a few times while Fluttershy nodded repeatedly in understanding before turning to speak to Naruto. She says that she had been out of Ponyville and traveled over to Hoofington to visit her parents. That's nice, be sure to send my regards the next time you go and see them Aoi, said Naruto, to which the blue jay chirped in affirmation. Fluttershy felt Angel nudging her leg and looked down to see him pointing at Naruto, realizing what he's suggesting. Naruto? Yeah Shy. Naruto looked at her attentively, making her feel a bit nervous. I was wondering if you weren't too busy, that you would. Fluttershy kept hesitating and asking the question, making Angel do a facepalm, while Naruto looked a bit confused. What is it you want to ask me, Shy? Asked Naruto. I was hoping to ask if you could commute Sebiterflamigration with me. Now Naruto was really confused. Shy. I didn't catch what you said, could you repeat it a bit more slowly? I was hoping that you come and watch the butterfly migration with me. The butterfly migration? This is the first time that I've heard of it. It's the time when the butterflies travel north for warmer climates before making their return later in the year. It's really a beautiful sight with many butterflies of different colors flying together, said Fluttershy. That sounds like a must-see, and you said that it's happening tomorrow, right? Yes, that's as if you're not too busy. Fluttershy nervously waited for his answer. Sure, I can come, even if I was busy I could always leave a shadow clone behind to take care of things. Hearing this made Fluttershy smile happily. Really? That's great, we could meet up over at town square, then I'll show you the way to the spot where we can watch. Okay Shy, I'll see you tomorrow then. Naruto turned and left through the door as Fluttershy saw him out. Bye Naruto. Fluttershy closed the door and let out a breath which she didn't know that she was holding this whole time. Then she noticed Angel Bunny standing before her with a smug look on his face, as if saying I told so. I don't know Angel. Suddenly I feel even more nervous now that Naruto agreed to come along to the butterfly migration with me. I just hope that I don't mess things up when I'm with him. Angel hopped up to her head and patted it as if to cheer her on. Okay Angel, I'll be sure to do my best tomorrow. Now I need to get things ready, said Fluttershy before moving to another room to pack the things needed for tomorrow's outing. Meanwhile, after leaving Fluttershy's home and saying goodbye to Aoi, Naruto passed by the whirlpool to check in with the shadow clone that he left behind to look after the shop. After checking the sales, Naruto closed up shop and made his way home. He was making dinner when he heard the front door open and he could hear Scootaloo call out. Big bro, I'm home. said Scootaloo loudly as she walked to the kitchen. "Hey Scoots, how was your day?" said Naruto while using his magic to control the wooden ladle to stir the pot on the stove. It was pretty much the same thing like any other. Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle and I tried a few activities to see if any of them could help us our cutie marks, but they were all dead ends. So what about you? I was doing some training with my wind element and I've just completed the first exercise. Soon I'll be moving on the next step. Hearing this made Scootaloo look at Naruto with stars on her eyes. That's so cool. It means that you can blow away any bad guys that get in your way. Naruto smiled at her enthusiasm. Well, that's not all the wind can do, Scoots. Remember Tamari from my old world? You mean that girl with the giant fan? She too has an affinity for the wind element and from what you saw, the wind can do more than just blow stuff away as it can even slice through anything, even rocks. Whoa, so what was the first exercise before you can do all that cool jutsu stuff? Scootaloo asked excitedly. My first exercise was to cut a leaf in half with my wind chakra. That sounds rather easy to me. Scootaloo looked a bit stumped. It's much tougher than it sounds. Normally it would have taken weeks if not a month to fully master it. But with my shadow clones, I was able to reduce that amount of time in half, though it would have been done sooner were it not for certain events popping up. Okay, so what's the next step and can I come watch? Maybe I can get a cutie mark for training supervision. I haven't read the next step yet. I'll be sure to find out and maybe you can come along too, as long as it isn't too dangerous. But for now we should focus on more important things. Like what? Asked Scootaloo curiously, then a rumble was heard from her stomach, making her feel embarrassed much to her big brother's amusement. Like getting our stomachs filled up with food, they must have been bored with our conservation, Naruto chuckled before Scootaloo ran off towards the dining table to set it up for dinner. The next morning, Naruto had woken up early to some food which he then packed into a cooler and sealed into his medallion after making breakfast and lunch for Scootaloo and Trixie and storing them in the fridge before making his way towards the town square where he was supposed to meet up with Fluttershy. It wasn't too long that Naruto waited as he heard flapping of wings and looked up to see Fluttershy flying towards him from the sky and landing before him. I hope that I didn't keep you waiting, Naruto, said Fluttershy nervously, to which Naruto shook his head. Don't worry about it, Shy, I just got here a few minutes ago since I had to cook breakfast and lunch for Scoots before coming here. So where will we be going to watch the butterfly migration? Said Naruto. We can watch from a certain spot which is on the way to Winsome Falls. The butterflies will be passing through there, so that's where we'll be waiting for them, said Fluttershy. Okay Shy, lead the way, said Naruto. Fluttershy nodded in affirmation before flapping her wings to lift herself into the air as Naruto activated his chakra wings and followed after her. It was a long flight, but they soon arrived at the place which Fluttershy had spoken about. Along the way Naruto had looked into the distance and was stunned at the scenery that was far ahead of him. He saw several mountainous with numerous waterfalls, some that even has all the colors of a rainbow with many streams and lakes all around the plains. Whoa, so that place far ahead of us is Winsome Falls? Naruto asked Fluttershy while descending together towards a tall hill a few miles from the place. Yes, Applejack sometimes invites Rainbow Dash and I to camp out with her every once in a while, said Fluttershy. That sounds nice, said Naruto. I get the feeling that I'll be going there a lot for training. While they sat down to wait for the butterflies to pass by, Naruto unsealed a small blanket as well as the cooler where he brought out cups and plates first, then he pulled out a couple of containers and a flask of iced tea before placing them on the blanket. As he did so, Fluttershy had unsealed a large hardcover encyclopedia, a pair of binoculars and a camera for taking pictures. I can't wait to see the kinds of butterflies that would soon pass here, said Fluttershy while looking excited. How many types of butterflies are there, Shy? Asked Naruto curiously. There are over 28,000 known butterflies in the world, Naruto, as there are still more to be discovered, said Fluttershy. Whoa, there are that many? Said Naruto while looking surprised. Yes, and there are many that aren't commonly seen around Ponyville like these ones. Fluttershy opened the encyclopedia for Naruto to see pictures of many butterflies with multicolored wings, as Fluttershy pointed to one of the pictures. This one is the blue Morpheo butterfly. They're known to drink the juices of rotting fruit and live in rainforest. She pointed to another butterfly, and this one is called the peacock butterfly. The book says that when it rubs its wings together, it makes a hissing sound, and it happens when it is alarmed, such as seeing a bird. Wow, I'm pretty sure that my friend Shino would have loved to hear about this, since he has a love for bugs, said Naruto. That would be nice, said Fluttershy. While eating the snacks that Naruto brought along, they waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, but there was no sign of the butterflies appearing from the horizon, which worried Fluttershy greatly. Are you sure that the butterflies are coming, Shy? Maybe we're a day too early or we had missed it? Asked Naruto confusedly. It couldn't be, I had made sure to check when the butterflies would be migrating, which is today, and I also know that the route of migration would cross through here. Something must have happened to them, said Fluttershy. She flipped through the pages to show a map with a few arrows representing trails that the butterflies are believed to follow, and Naruto saw that one of the arrows pass over the spot that they're currently at. So maybe we should follow the trail and try to find out what's the problem, said Naruto. Fluttershy took to the air and looked around for a bit before setting eyes on an eagle which was flying by, then she flew after it. Excuse me sir, but had you seen a swarm of butterflies during your outing?" asked Fluttershy. The eagle screeched a few times as Fluttershy nodded in understanding. "I see, thank you for telling me and have a nice day." The eagle nodded before flying away, while she returned to where Naruto was, who was packing up the food back into the medallion. "Did you learn of anything?" asked Naruto. "That nice eagle told me that the butterflies were last seen flying over a forest not too far from here, but the strange thing was that they were descending towards it and not coming back out. Sounds like there's something in that forest which is the source of the butterflies' strange behavior. Let's go check it out, but I'll leave a shadow clone behind just in case," said Naruto. "Okay Naruto." Following the directions given to her by the eagle, Fluttershy and Naruto arrived at the forest and are currently walking around trying to catch any sight of a butterfly, but to no avail. Naruto activated his aura sight to pinpoint any of them, but got nothing. Suddenly he caught sight of something fluttering among the trees and focused on it. "Shy over there," Naruto pointed out with a hoof. Fluttershy followed his direction and saw a butterfly with yellow and black wings flying through the forest. "That's a tiger swallowtail butterfly, the rest mustn't be too far then," said Fluttershy happily. They were about to approach it when something burst out of the bushes and landed before the butterfly, much to their confusion. It is rather small in size, but has the body of an emaciated rooster with green scaly skin and a long serpentine tail. "Isn't it a cockatrice, like the one that you told me about?" asked Naruto. He remembered reading about it on a bestiary in the library. Apparently it has the power to turn anyone into stone, should they look into its eyes. He recalled some time ago when Scootaloo and the girls went for a sleepover at Fluttershy's place, but adventured into the Everfree Forest to help retrieve her missing chicken, where they encountered a cockatrice who had turned Twilight into stone earlier before. However, Fluttershy had arrived to save them as well as force the monster to release Twilight from her stony state. When he heard of it, his first thought was to go into the forest to find the cockatrice and teach it the consequences of messing with those close to him, had it not been for Fluttershy to persuade him to leave it alone. "Yes, and I recognize it to be the very same one, but what is it doing out here instead before living in the Everfree Forest?" said Fluttershy confusedly. The cockatrice stared at the butterfly with its red eyes, and they watched in shock as the butterfly was turned into stone before falling into the ground with a thud. It even got stranger when it picked up the butterfly and ran off back where it came from. "Let's go after it. I get the feeling that where it's going might be where the other butterflies are kept," said Naruto. "Okay Naruto, we need to go and save those poor creatures," said Fluttershy. Then they followed after the cockatrice and the captive butterfly, all the while making sure that didn't attract any attention to themselves. Soon enough they trailed the monster all the way to small cave. "That must be where the other butterflies are kept," said Fluttershy. "Shhhhhh, I think I heard some voices inside," said Naruto holding a hoof to his lips. They quietly walked over to the entrance as the voices got louder and peeked inside. There they saw something which worried Fluttershy and angered Naruto. There are a trio ponies, with two being male earth ponies and the other being a female unicorn, who are currently putting the petrified butterflies into brown sacks. The first earth pony has the body color of brown with a shaggy mane and tail of black. He has cutie mark of a brown path with rocks on it. The second earth pony has the body color of gray with a mane and tail of black and has a cutie mark of a ragged looking ace of spades playing card. And the female unicorn has the body of amethyst. Her cobalt with a cool gray streak mane and tail is cut short and draped over to the right, and she has a cutie mark of a purple rose with black splotch and stars as a background. "Hurry it up you two, we're behind schedule here," said the female unicorn angrily. "Take it easy Midnight Rose, we're moving as fast as we can," said the gray earth pony. "Wild Ace is right, there are a lot of petrified butterflies to pack up here, but this has to be the greatest idea which you've come up with," said the brown earth pony. "Of course it is Rocky Road, all we had to do is control a cockatrice from the Everfree Forest to turn certain creatures into stone statues to sell them as figurines to any pony with the right amount of bits. Easiest money we ever made," said Midnight Rose with a smirk. Back at the entrance, Naruto and Fluttershy had heard everything and were quite displeased with what they were doing. How could they do something so horrible to those poor creatures, and now they want to do the same to the butterflies, said Fluttershy sadly. Naruto looked angry. Seeing this reminded him of his encounter with Gato during his mission at the Land of Waves. Any pony could do anything just to get their hooves on money, but right now we're stopping them from doing any more. "Oh okay Naruto." Naruto stepped into the cave while Fluttershy timidly hid behind him as he made their presence known to the others. "Hey, stop what you're doing and leave those butterflies alone." Naruto spoke angrily. The trio turned to the sudden outburst and were surprised upon an unknown unicorn and Pegasus standing at the cave entrance. "Who are you two and what are you doing here?" asked Wild Ace with tension. "It doesn't really who we are, just know that we heard everything and are going to stop you from doing any more," said Naruto. "Those butterflies are supposed to be on their migration, what you're doing isn't nice at all," said Fluttershy while peeking out from behind Naruto. "Like that should be of any concern to us," Rocky Road scoffed. "And since you intend to interfere with our gig, then might as well silence both of you permanently." The mare's horn glowed with a violet aura before a beam shot out of it and hit the cockatrice, which jerked a bit before charging straight at Naruto and Fluttershy. "Be careful, Naruto, looking into its eyes will turn you into stone, and please don't hurt it," said Fluttershy worriedly. "Got it, shy, Terabunker." Naruto's horn glowed an orange aura as he slammed a hoof onto the ground, which rumbled before forming a protective dome around Naruto and Fluttershy, knocking the cockatrice back away from them. "As if a little dirt is going to do anything, I can just knock it down," said Midnight Rose as she prepared to fire a magic beam to knock down the earthen dome. Then a part of the rock dome burst open and something flew out and landed before the cockatrice, who looked down to see that it was a white crystal with a strange writing on it. The crystal glowed for a moment before unleashing a bright flash of light, making the cockatrice and opposing ponies to cry out in pain while covering their eyes to block out the sudden flash. Naruto shot out of the dome and threw out the picnic blanket over the cockatrice, then quickly brought out a pair of chakra arms to grab the edges and wrapped it up all over before tying a knot and left the monster squirming to break free, but to no avail. "Why you get him?" Wild Ace shouted out angrily. Both earth ponies charged at Naruto. Rocky Road launched a straight punch at Naruto's head, but the blonde stallion ducked under the attack and spun around to use his tail to wrap around one to the hooves, then he pulled hard to lift him into the air and tossed him into the cave wall, which left him stunned. Naruto turned to face Wild Ace, who launched punches and kicks, dodging them with sidesteps and short dashes. "Not bad moves, dude, but check this out." Naruto immediately dashed to the left side and launched a double kick to send Wild Ace flying away from him, then he channeled his chakra from within and called out. "Shadow Clone Jutsu." 2 clones appeared in a puff of smoke, then he created a pair of chakra arms to grab them and throw at the still airborne Wild Ace. The first clone tackled into the grey earth while the second clone flew past them and towards the cave wall. There he somersaulted to land on it with his hooves before kicking off and flying to slam into his target's back. Clone body blow. Both clones called out before disappearing in puffs of smoke, leaving an unconscious opponent on the ground. Naruto turned to look at Midnight Rose, who stood there in shock upon seeing a seemingly pony take down both of her cohorts. "Now that they're out of the way, you best surrender if you don't want to end up like them." The violet unicorn took a step back as her mind raced, quickly thinking of her next course of actions at that moment. "I've got to do something to get away from them, but what?" She glanced to the side and saw Fluttershy standing nearby, looking worried. "That'll work." Midnight Rose took aim at Fluttershy and shot a beam of magic from her horn. Naruto's eyes widened upon where the beam was headed and immediately swung into action by moving to intercept. "Fluttershy, watch out." He called out to the mare, who stood there frozen in fear. He pumped chakra to his legs for a speed boost and managed to get there in time to tackle her out of the way just as the beam shot by and destroyed a part of the cave wall. Fluttershy snapped out of her fear and looked up to see Naruto standing over her protectively. "Nah, Naruto. Shy, are you alright? You weren't hurt, were you?" Naruto asked with concern. "No, I'm fine," Fluttershy responded with a pink tinge on her cheeks due to how close he was to her. Then they heard galloping and turned to see Midnight Rose running out of the cave. "Darn it, she's getting away." Naruto got ready to pursue the unicorn when Fluttershy called out to him. "Naruto, wait, we'll need to find a way to reverse the spell." "Okay, Shy, but I'll send a couple of clones after her while we tie up the lackeys." Naruto created a group of 4 clones who then ran out of the cave in pursuit. After tying up the still unconscious earth ponies, Naruto and Fluttershy cautiously untied the blanket from the cockatrice. They noticed that the monster was looking around confusedly before setting its eyes on them and stiffened upon recognizing Fluttershy, much to Naruto's amusement. "I'm relieved to see that you're free of the mind control spell, but could you dispel your petrification on the butterflies so that they can continue their migration?" asked Fluttershy kindly. The cockatrice nodded in affirmation and sounds of rocks shattering were heard. Soon the place filled with colorful wings fluttering before slowly making their way out of the cave. "Thank you very much, now you can make your way home at the Everfree Forest now," said Fluttershy. The cockatrice quacked in response before walking away. Then Naruto received the memories of his shadow clones but frowned at what he saw, which Fluttershy noticed. "What's the matter, Naruto?" "My clones had cornered that Midnight Rose, but then she threw out some sort of purple dust which messed with their senses before making her get away." Naruto turned to the earth ponies propped up against the wall. "As for these 2, my clones will send them to the royal guards over at Canterlot." "Okay, let's hurry back to the spot before we miss the migration," said Fluttershy. Both ponies quickly made their way back to where they were originally at as Celestia's sun was slowly setting. Naruto watched the butterflies fly over them in awe of the scenery. Fluttershy was also admiring them while feeling happy that everything was going the way she wanted after all. Wow, I never would have thought to see something like this. I'm glad that Shy invited me to see this, thought Naruto happily, then a butterfly descended and landed on his snout while fanning itself. He noticed that this one looked quite different from the ones that he saw on Fluttershy's encyclopedia. It has wings in the color of pink and yellow. There is some sort of pattern almost looking like a bow and arrow. I've never seen this one before. Maybe Shy will know about it once I show it to her. Naruto turned to tell Fluttershy. It was at that moment a butterfly of similar appearance landed on Fluttershy's snout too. She was quite taken with its appearance, especially with its pattern. I've never seen this butterfly before. Maybe Naruto would like to see it before I search on it in the encyclopedia, thought Fluttershy before turning to speak to Naruto. Shy, you need to see this, Naruto began while turning. Naruto, I would like to show, Fluttershy spoke while turning. Both sides faced each other, however neither could finish what they were saying, as something else was going on. Their muzzles were currently touching each other, with the unique butterflies still on it, while looking into each other's eyes with surprise. Naruto and Fluttershy were actually kissing each other. I can't believe that I'm kissing Naruto, Fluttershy. Both thought at the same time frantically. In Ponyville and Canterlot, a certain group of mares stopped whatever that they were doing upon feeling a tinge of jealousy, as if some pony had gone and done something that they had wanted to do first. Meanwhile, Naruto and Fluttershy stood still for several moments before finally moving away with their hearts pounding against their chests, and the butterflies flew off. This feeling again, the very same one when Luna kissed me. Why am I feeling this way? Thought Naruto. I still can't believe that I kissed Naruto. I feel like I'm going to faint, thought Fluttershy. Shy. Fluttershy looked up with a start to see Naruto looking away with a blush on his face. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. I must have made you feel uncomfortable. It's okay, Naruto, I really don't mind, said Fluttershy in a placating manner. Oh okay, maybe we should pack up and go home, Naruto suggested. Fluttershy could only nod in agreement. It was a very awkward trip back to Ponyville, and Naruto escorted Fluttershy back to her home. Good night, Shy, said Naruto. You too, Naruto, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, Naruto then left with Fluttershy closing the door. Feeling that she was alone, Fluttershy ran up to her room and jumped into her bed before covering her head with a pillow to hide a full-blown blush on her face upon recalling the memory of the kiss. Now that I think about it, I didn't check up on that butterfly. Fluttershy unsealed the encyclopedia and flipped through the pages until finding a picture matching what she and Naruto saw, then proceeded to read the information. A Cupid's fluttering arrow. This butterfly is an extremely rare, with only a select few being lucky enough to even catch a glimpse of it. This creature is noted to be a strong flyer, capable of flying through strong winds with the least effort, and loves to drink nectar from pink and red flowers. Rumors has it that when a pair of these butterflies were to land on the snouts of a male and female pony and they were to kiss, it would mean that they were destined to be together as a couple. By the time she was done reading, steam could be seen coming out Fluttershy's ears. She couldn't take it anymore and simply fainted on her bed, dreaming of her and Naruto walking through a beautiful forest with numerous butterflies flying overhead. And there. I'm all done, Naruto spoke with satisfaction as he looked at the neat stack of papers placed on top of his table in the office over at the whirlpool. Business had been going slow for him and he was bored out of his mind, which was when he had a sudden brainstorm to relieve him of his boredom by rewriting one of his favorite stories that he loved to read during his younger days back in the Hidden Leaf Village due to his love for adventures. Now that I'm finished with the script, I'll take it over to Twilight for her to help turn it into a book. I'm pretty sure that she'll want to be the first to read it, said Naruto, then he sealed the papers into his medallion, making his way towards the library after locking up the shop. While walking along the streets of Ponyville and responding to the greetings of ponies as he passed by, Naruto let his mind wander into the recent events to while away the time on his walk. However, a tinge of pink appeared on his whiskered cheeks upon recalling what happened between him and Fluttershy when they watched the butterfly migration together despite the run-in with those ponies. Ever since that awkward kiss, Naruto had that funny feeling again, just like when Luna kissed him on the cheek. Though he acts normal around them, he can't but feel a bit weird and was getting the same vibe from some of the others. I really need to talk to some pony about this, maybe Doc or Kami could help me out, thought Naruto to himself. Suddenly he bumped into someone and heard a yelp which snapped him out of his thoughts to look at who it was that he bumped into, only to see that it was someone whom he was familiar with. Oh Derpy. Sorry about walking into you like that, I was thinking about something and I just lost my sense of awareness, said Naruto apologetically. It's okay Naruto, it must be something serious for you to do that. Need any help? Said Derpy. You have no idea, thought Naruto. It's okay, I'll be sure to figure it out. Okay, where are you going to since you're not in your shop right now? Asked Derpy. Actually, I was getting bored in the shop since there weren't any deliveries to be made today. So I had the idea to write a manuscript on one of my favorite stories that I used to read in my old home when I was young, and I was taking it to Twilight over at the library for her to help turn it into a book," said Naruto. "Really? Is there a chance that Dinky could read it too? I'm sure she would like it since it came from where you were before coming to Ponyville," said Derpy. After the battle with Discord, Naruto revealed to Derpy and her daughter who he really was, except that he travels to other dimensions, since she had seen the battle between him and his dark side. They were at first surprised but accepted him nonetheless, and Dinky had taken to having him show off his techniques from time to time, saying that he looked very cool to her. "Sure thing, Derpy, I'll be sure to bring it over once it's done. See you later, Derpy," said Naruto before walking away. "Bye, Naruto." Derpy flapped her wings as she flew off towards her intended destination. It only took a few more minutes before Naruto finally arrived at the library. He knocked on the door, but didn't have to wait long before it opened up to reveal Twilight behind it, who smiled upon seeing the blonde stallion. "Hello, Naruto, what brings you here?" asked Twilight. "Hi, Twilight, I came because I need your help on making a book," said Naruto. "Making a book? What is it about?" asked Twilight with interest. "It's actually an old folktale that I used to read back at the Hidden Leaf. I thought to rewrite it into a book," said Naruto. "What's the story called?" "It's titled Mamadoro the Peach Boy." "The Peach Boy? Why is he called that?" Twilight asked curiously. "That would be spoiling the story. Let's finish making the book then you can read about it," said Naruto teasingly. "Then let's make the book already, I can't wait any longer to read it," said Twilight excitedly before walking quickly towards one of the bookshelves in search of a spell book. She had always liked reading things relating to Naruto's old home. Naruto unsealed the stack of papers from his medallion and placed them on the table, and Twilight walked up to him while reading from a book which was being levitated with her magic. Then she closed the book and placed it elsewhere. "Okay, I've gotten just the right spell for the job. Let's give it a try." Twilight closed her eyes in concentration with her horn emitting a purple aura, then the papers were covered in the aura as well before lifting into the air and swirled around like they were caught up in a twister. The papers converged towards the center and stuck together, then a brown hard leather cover materialized before attaching to the papers and binding them together before placing itself on the table. "The spell worked just like I hoped," said Twilight turned to Naruto with pleading look on her face. "Can I read it, Naruto?" "Sure thing, Twilight, I did say you could read it when you helped make it into a book," said Naruto. "Thanks, Naruto." Twilight happily walked towards the book when all of a sudden it shot up to the air well covered in a wide aura, much to their surprise. "Twilight, what's going on? Could it be the side effect of the spell that you did?" asked Naruto. I don't know, I didn't read of any side effects from the spell book," said Twilight looking confused as well. The book opened up as the pages flipped through quickly before stopping in the middle, where a bright flash of light shone throughout the room, forcing Naruto and Twilight to close there in order to block it out as the brightness steadily increased before finally dimming. The book closed itself and landed back on the table with a thump, but the strange thing was that neither Twilight nor Naruto were to be seen in the room at all. It was as if they disappeared into thin air without so much as a trace of their presence. "Ugh." Naruto let out a groan as he slowly opened his eyes and blinked them a few times to clear them, before realizing that he was laying on his back and felt the grass through his skin, which instantly snapped him to attention. Then he abruptly sat up, surprising himself at how he did so. "What the hey?" Naruto raised his front limbs only to see hands instead of hooves before him and looked at himself to see that he was wearing the same clothes from when he revisited his old home. "I'm human again. What's going on here, and mostly importantly, where am I?" As he looked around, Naruto noticed that he was standing on top of a grassy hill and several rows of mountains could be seen in the horizon. A little bit closer to him is a dirt path with one side leading into a forest and the other leading further into the grasslands. "I don't know how I got here, but I better find a town or village in order to find out where exactly I am." Naruto was about to take a step when he heard a moan right next to him and turned to see the source of the sound. Laying on the ground was a girl about his height while wearing a light purple kimono with star patterns on it with a dark purple sash, a pair of long white socks and wooden sandal. What caught Naruto's attention the most was that the girl had long dark blue hair with a violet streak that reached her upper back. Could this be Twilight in her human form? "She looks beautiful." Naruto blushed as he stared at the mare turned human in awe. He knelt down and shook Twilight's shoulder gently to wake her up. She finally stirred awake and began to look around in confusion. "Naruto? Is that you? Why are you in your human form? Why am I a human? My horn is gone again. What's going on?" Twilight asked panicky. "Calm down, Twilight, calm down. Just take a deep breath." Naruto watched Twilight do just that and appeared to have calmed down. "What happened, Naruto?" "The last thing I remember was the book releasing a bright flash of light before I lost consciousness, and then I woke up looking like a human," said Twilight confusedly. "Same here, I don't know where we are either. maybe we should find a town so that we'll learn of where we are and find a way back home, but I need to teach you how to move around while in human form," said Naruto. "It shouldn't be too hard, I've seen Spike do it a lot." "Well, there's a difference between seeing and actually doing it. I had to practice moving around when I first arrived in Equestria." As a pony, Naruto held out his hand for Twilight to grab, which she did before gently pulling her up to stand on her feet. She was a bit unsteady and almost fell over a few times had it not been for Naruto holding her up. "Now just move one of your feet forward, then move the other ahead of the first one." Naruto held both of Twilight's hands as she took one step after. With each step taken, Twilight slowly got used to her new feet and soon was able to walk on her own without Naruto's help, but didn't try to run, given that her new dress wasn't really meant for that. "Okay, I think I've gotten the hang of walking now, but how can I use my magic without my horn?" asked Twilight worriedly. Naruto looked thoughtful for a moment. "I don't know, but if magic comes from within oneself like my chakra, then maybe you try channeling your magic through your hands." Twilight looked around for a moment before setting her sights upon a rock laying nearby. She pointed her hands towards it and closed her eyes as she concentrated on a basic magic spell. From Naruto's point of view, he noticed that Twilight's hands were covered in a purple aura, then rock was covered in the same aura as it lifted into the air. Twilight opened her eyes and smiled upon seeing that her magic still works despite her lack of horn. Whichever direction which she moves her hands, then the levitating rock would hover towards it. "I can still use my magic, what a relief. Being unable to use magic one time is enough for me," said Twilight with a smile. "Now let's go find ourselves a town," said Naruto. "But which way should we go?" asked Twilight. "Let's go through the forest." With that said, Naruto and Twilight ventured into the forest, all the while taking note that the forest wasn't so different from the ones back in Equestria. They continued along the dirt path when Naruto suddenly stopped Twilight from walking any further with a frown on his face. "What's the matter, Naruto? Why did we stop?" asked Twilight confusedly. "We're not alone, someone has been following us for quite a while now," said Naruto before speaking out loudly. "Come out and show yourselves, I know you're there." There was no response for a moment, then dark chuckles were heard as the bushes rustled before parting to reveal something which surprised Naruto and frightened Twilight. It resembled a giant with red skin, wild black hair with two long horns jutting out from it, and fang-like tusks jutting out from its mouth. It also wears a loincloth, which appears to be made from the furs of tigers. Naruto and Twilight took note of the large iron club with spikes at the end. "Naruto, what is that thing?" asked Twilight with fear in her voice. "It's an Oni, an evil monster known to perform evil acts, one of the worst being that it devours humans." Naruto spoke grimly for Twilight to gasp at what he said. Well, today must be my lucky day as I found two humans just in time for lunch," said the red Oni, while smacking his lips hungrily. Naruto stood before Twilight protectively while taking a fighting stance. "Sorry to disappoint you, buddy, but we're not on the menu, so you're going home hungry. Like you have any say in this matter, you're both lunch, and that is that." The Oni raised his iron club above his head and brought it down on them. Naruto quickly turned to grab Twilight into a bridal carry and leapt out of the way before the club smashed where they once stood. He placed Twilight on the ground and dashed towards the Oni, while crossing the middle and index fingers of both hands together before calling out his signature jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. There were puffs of smoke at both sides of the blonde ninja before dissipating to reveal clones running alongside the original, much to the shock of the red Oni. "I don't know what magic this is, but you're only prolonging your death." The Oni swung his club at the clones. Some of them jumped out of the way of the attack, though one of them got hit and disappeared in a puff of smoke. The first pair of clones quickly around to position themselves behind the Oni and simultaneously kicked at the back of his legs, forcing him to his knees. The clone ran up the iron club with a kunai in hand, which he then used to stab the hand, causing the Oni to let go while crying out in pain. The red Oni looked up to see Naruto diving towards him from the air, with a blue spinning orb in his hand. "If you're that hungry, then how about you chew on this?" Rasengan. Then he rammed it into the monster to send him flying backwards in a spiral, while crashing through many trees before tumbling to a stop and laid there unconscious. Naruto stood vigilant to see if the Oni would get back to his feet, but the demon remained still before relaxing his guard. Then he heard Twilight approaching him. "Thanks for protecting me, Naruto," said Twilight happily. "No problem, Twilight," said Naruto with a foxy grin. "That is certainly quite an accomplishment to defeat an Oni, especially a red one at that." A voice spoke out from behind them. Naruto and Twilight turned around to see whom the voice belonged to. It happened to be a boy with black hair which is tied into a ponytail about their height, wearing a white headband with the picture of a peach while carrying a flag on his back. He also wears a purple undershirt with a red shirt and a pink vest coming over both while having a katana and a brown pouch attached to his belt. Also, Naruto and Twilight noticed a white dog that is almost as large as a colt standing next to him. "Thanks, but who are you?" asked Naruto curiously. My name is Mamadoro the Peach Boy, and this my companion dog, said the boy, while the dog nodded in greeting. Naruto and Twilight's eyes widened in surprise upon hearing his name and turned towards each other, having coming upon a shocking conclusion as they now know exactly where. It appears that the book had sucked into a world which is based on one of Naruto's favorite folktales. They snapped out of their shock before turning to respond to the boy. It's nice to meet you, my name is Twilight Sparkle, said Twilight. And mine is Naruto Uzumaki, so where are you and your friend going to? Asked Naruto despite knowing exactly what it is. We're on our way to subdue the evil Oni in their island stronghold in the northeast of Japan. These hateful beings have been invading this land to kill and rob the people and carry off all they can find. It is the reason why I left my dear mother and father, but I promise to return after taking back the plunder which they have robbed of this land, said Mamadoro. I wish you luck on your mission, said Twilight. Actually, I was hoping that you would accompany me to the Oni stronghold and help defeat the monsters. Naruto and Twilight were surprised to hear such a request from the Peach Boy. Are you sure about this? I know that you're a pretty strong guy, said Naruto, not wanting to divert the story off its original path. Of course, after seeing you battle that red Oni, I can tell your participation in the upcoming battle would help us greatly. I hope that you would say yes. Feeling torn between helping his favorite hero and finding a way back home, Naruto turned to Twilight for her opinion in the matter. The mare-turned-human thought deeply for a minute before responding to Mamadoro. We'd like to help you, we can't refuse after hearing your story, said Twilight. Mamadoro smiled happily at their answer. I'm forever grateful for your help. I'm happy to work alongside you, said Naruto. Likewise, the dog spoke up for the first, much to their surprise, since he mentioned a word throughout their conversation. Then a loud rumble was heard, and it happened to come from the stomachs of Naruto and Twilight, much to their embarrassment, while Mamadoro chuckled. Of course you two would be hungry after what had happened. He reached into his pouch and took out a dumpling which he then split into two, before holding out half to each of them. Here, this happens to be one of the best dumplings in Japan, courtesy of my mother. I'm sure you love it. After giving their thanks, Naruto and Twilight took the halves of the dumplings and ate them before discovering the exquisite taste behind them. Whoa, it's as tasty as the story describes it, thought Naruto. Well then, let us be off. We still have a long way to go, said Mamadoro. But that said, the group continued on their way with Mamadoro leading them through the path until they were out of the forest, not before tying up the red Oni with very strong rope to a tree. Along the way, Naruto and Twilight were having a private conversation between themselves. I'm a bit surprised that you wanted to help instead of looking for a way to get back home, said Naruto. Well, I did before, but after seeing what that monster tried to do us, I couldn't leave it like that, so I wanted to help, then we could work on getting back to our world, said Twilight. I'm totally fine with it, it's not every day that you get to work alongside your favorite hero, said Naruto with stars in his eyes, making Twilight giggle. Suddenly something jumped out from the branches of a nearby tree and landed on the path before them. It was revealed to be a monkey with brown fur, who then walked towards the group, mainly Mamadoro, and waved cheerily. Hello Mamadoro. I welcome you to this part of the country. I also wish to ask if I could accompany you to the Oni stronghold, asked the monkey in a chipper voice. The dog stepped before the monkey while growling at it. This group already has a dog to help them to fight the Oni, so there's no need for a monkey to come along. Now go away. Hearing this caused the monkey to glare at the dog. What gives you the right to send me away, you mangy mutt? What did you call me? You heard me, or are you deaf? This led into a fight with the dog biting at the monkey, who was using its acrobatic skills to dodge and strike back with its sharp claws. I read from the library that dogs and monkeys had always disliked each other, but I never saw it in reality until now, said Twilight. First time for everything, Twilight-san, but I'm not going to let this play out any longer, said Mamadoro. Same here, said Naruto. Both boys approached the fighting animals and pulled them away from each other, with Mamadoro holding back the dog and Naruto doing the same with the monkey. That's enough, dog. Mamadoro spoke sternly. But it's not all dignified for you to have a monkey accompany us on our journey, said Dog. And what do you know of it? Mamadoro turned to the monkey, who appeared to have calmed down. And why do you want to come with us, monkey? I didn't like what the Oni has been doing to this land, so when I heard of your expedition to the Oni stronghold on their island, I decided to follow you when you appear here. Nothing would please me more if you were to accept my request, said the monkey. Mamadoro looked thoughtful for a moment before replying, I admire your courage, and so I've decided to allow you to join us. Hearing this made the monkey happy, but the dog protested against this. But Mamadoro, he began but was interrupted. I understand your dislike of each other, but that won't be allowed in this group. Anyone who begins the argument will be sent away, understood? Both animals nodded meekly, not wanting to be sent away. After giving the monkey a half of his dumplings, the group continued on the road. However, Mamadaro had the dog walk ahead of them with a flag and monkey to be behind them while walking in the middle and holding a war fan made of iron. "So is this the group that will be going to fight the Oni?" whispered Twilight. "Not exactly, Twilight, there's one more to join us," Naruto whispered back. "Really, who?" "Just wait and see." The group arrived at a large rice field. Here a bird flew down and alighted on the ground just before them. It was the most beautiful bird they had ever seen. On its body were 5 different robes of feathers, and a scarlet cap covered its head. The dog immediately ran towards the bird and lunged at it with its teeth bared to attack. However, the bird quickly took to the air before diving to peck at the dog's head before following up by attacking with its talons. Naruto and the others were watching the fight with awe, especially Mamadaro. "Both beautiful and fast, I'm sure that Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash would have loved to meet it," said Twilight. "That's true," Naruto nodded agreement. Then Mamadaro went up to the animals and pulled the dog back while looking at the bird sternly to stop. "That's enough out of the both of you. Especially you, as you're hindering my journey. Cease this fight and I might consider letting you join us. If not, then I'll see you as an enemy and let dog attack you again." The bird was frightened from what he said and immediately alighted to the ground before bowing to them. "I have no excuse for attacking a member of your group and sincerely apologize for doing such a thing. I am a bird called a pheasant and I'm thankful for your forgiveness and to take me with you," said the bird. "I congratulate you on your surrender as well as I accept your humble apology. You're allowed to join us on our raid on the Oni stronghold," said Mamadaro, much to the pheasant's joy. Then he turned to speak to the group. "Now all of you must listen to me. The first important thing in an army is harmony. Union among us is better than any earthly gains. When we're not at peace amongst ourselves, it's no easy thing to subdue an enemy. From now on, all of you must be friends with one mind. The one who first begins an argument will be discharged on the spot. You won't expect that from us. Twilight and I often work together with our friends, so expect full cooperation from us," said Naruto with Twilight nodding in agreement. "Then I too will work with the others," said the monkey. "Me too," said the dog. "I as well," said the pheasant. "Very well then, let us be on our way," said Mamadaro, not before giving the pheasant a half of the dumplings. Afterwards they resumed their journey, bravely traversing through the tall mountains, long valleys and deep forests. Although the way, everyone got along nicely with each other and looked up to Mamadaro as the leader. After many days of traveling, they all stood on the shores of the northeastern sea, where nothing could be seen as far as the horizon, not even a spot of land, with the only sound being the crashing of waves upon the shores. "Looks we'll be going by boat in order to get to the island," said Twilight. "Seems like it." Naruto glanced to the side and noticed that the dog, monkey and pheasant were fidgeting around a bit. "Hey guys, what's the matter?" "We've never been to the sea before so we're feeling a bit unsettled by it," said the monkey. Mamadaro heard what monkey said and responded to them. "Is that hesitance I hear in your voice? What cowards you are to be afraid of the sea, especially since we came so far. I have no use for such cowards, so it's best that I discharge you 3 at once." Everyone was taken aback by his declaration, especially the 3 animals, so Twilight spoke up in their defense. "But they came so far to help you fight against the Oni," said Twilight. "That's exactly my point. If they came all this way only to be frightened of the sea, then what if we were to arrive at the enemy stronghold and fear were to take a hold of them? That would lead to our deaths, and all this will be for nothing but a waste of time and lives," Mamadaro replied. Naruto was unable to say anything to defend them due to Mamadaro bringing up a valid point, recalling when he and his team went out on their first C-rank mission and were attacked by rogue ninjas. He froze with fear when he thought that Kakashi was killed, and had it not been for Sasuke quickly reacting to the situation, he and Sakura would have been killed as well. However, he proved himself when he overcame his fear when they went up against the infamous Abusa, one of the most feared swordsmen known. He was about to speak up when the animals clung to Mamadaro's sleeve with pleading looks in their eyes. "Please don't send us away," said the dog. "We came too far to back down now," said the monkey. "We don't fear the sea at all, so please take us with you," said the pheasant. Mamadaro looked at them with a frown before it broke into a smile. "Very well then, you 3 can come along. It's even a good thing that you were afraid," said Mamadaro, much to the surprise of everyone. "I don't understand, but you almost sent them away because they were afraid," said Twilight confusedly. "The reason they're afraid is because they know of the dangers ahead of them. It is often the fearless ones who often find themselves in all kinds of danger. You wouldn't climb a mountain without knowing the risks." "I see, so you were testing them," said Naruto in realization. "Of course, but I would have sent them away had they failed so that they wouldn't have to lose their lives." The animals bowed their heads in gratitude and admiration of his strict yet kind actions. "He really acts like a great leader. He reminds me of Princess Celestia," said Twilight with a smile. "Same here, except he reminds me of the 3rd Hokage," said Naruto. Later on, Mamadoro had managed to acquire a small boat and they all got on board before setting sail for the island. The pheasant, dog and monkey were a bit frightened by the waves, but Naruto calmed them down by telling them stories about the pranks he used to pull off back in his village, as well as the mission he went along with his friends. Making them laugh and feel excited with Mamadoro watching in amusement. They sailed across the blue seas for quite a while until one day the group heard the pheasant call out to them from the air. "Everyone, I see an island in the distance." They ran to the bow of the ship. Mamadoro took out a telescope and peered through it. There above the precipitous shores looking out to sea he saw a large castle and instantly knew that it was the Oni's stronghold. "So what's the plan of action, Mamadoro?" asked Naruto with the others standing behind him attentively. Mamadoro thought deeply for a few minutes with his head leaning on a hand before looking at the pheasant. "Pheasant, I'll need you to fly ahead and engage the enemy, we'll follow soon after." The pheasant nodded in confirmation and was about to take flight when Naruto spoke up. "I'd like to follow Pheasant as well to keep the Oni occupied while you catch up with us," said Naruto. The rest nodded, recalling in his stories that he could create wings to fly. "Very well then, but stay safe along with Pheasant," said Mamadoro. "Naruto, please be careful," said Twilight worriedly. "I'll be Twilight, I promise." Naruto channeled chakra to his back and formed wings before leaping into the air, taking flight alongside the pheasant as they headed towards the castle, with the others watching them go from the boat. They soon reached and landed on the roof of a tall tower in the middle of the castle, where Pheasant called out loudly for the Oni to hear. "All of you monsters, listen to me. The great General Mamadoro has come to fight you and take your stronghold from you. Surrender to us now or suffer the agony of defeat," the pheasant declared. The Oni looked up and saw the bird and human before breaking into laughter. "A little bird and a human, it is ridiculous to hear such a thing from you. Wait till you receive a blow from one of our iron clubs," said a blue-skinned Oni haughtily, with the rest bellowing in agreement. Naruto simply shook his head at their naivety, just like what Mamadoro said earlier, because they aren't afraid, so they ignorant of the consequences. Why don't show them what it means to be afraid of something? "With pleasure," said the pheasant, who took off to the air before swapping towards the Oni at high speed. Naruto stretched an arm out to the side where there was a flash of bright light, and when it faded, it revealed a sea blue broadsword with an outward motif for the guard, and in the center is a white swirling energy hovering in the air. He jumped off the roof and dove towards a red Oni who swung his spiked iron club at him. Naruto slashed at the incoming weapon, cleanly splitting it in half, much to the monster's disbelief. Then he reared a fist back and thrust it forward for a large chakra arm to shoot out and smash the Oni into a wall. The pheasant flew left and right to avoid the heavy but slow swings of the iron clubs from the Oni, and retaliating by peeking at them with his sharp beak and slashing with his talons, before flying around them so fast that the Oni are even wondering if they're actually fighting a single bird, or more had arrived to help it, while the others are at their wits' end, wondering what the warrior fighting. For he fought so inhumanly with strange magic. Meanwhile, Mamadoro and the others had brought the ship to land on the shore and quickly made their way to castle before stopping before the castle entrance, which was heavily fortified with high walls and large iron gates. "I can use my magic to carry us over the walls and into the courtyard so we can get to Naruto and Pheasant," said Twilight as she prepared to do just that. "Hold on, Twilight-san, I hear someone crying from over there," said Dog, pointing upon a direction. They walked to where the dog pointed and saw two beautiful damsels washing in a nearby stream. They saw that the clothes were blood-stained and that the maidens were crying as they washed. Mamadoro stepped forward and called out to them. "Who are you and why do you cry?" asked Mamadoro. "We're the daughters of a feudal lord, but the Oni kidnapped us from our homes and into this island, threatening us to be his servants or be eaten by him," said one of the girls tearfully. "That's terrible," said Twilight sadly. "Don't cry anymore, for we're here to rescue you. As of now, two of our comrades are inside fighting the Oni, so if you would show us how to get into the castle in order to help them," said Mamadoro. "We would be glad to show you the way," said the other girl. Then the girls led the way with the group following them until stopping before a back door which was built into the lowest part of the wall. However, the catch was that the door was so small that none of them could even squeeze through. "How can we get through the door now?" "It's too small for any of us," said the dog. "Hold on, let me try something." Twilight directed her hands towards the door. It was covered in a magical aura before suddenly enlarging to a size which is more than enough for them to pass through freely. "What was that?" asked the monkey. "It was an expansion spell which I cast on the door. It makes things increase in size," said Twilight. "That was convenient. Now let us hurry in to help Naruto and Pheasant," said Mamadoro while opening the door and running inside, with the rest soon following after. Rasengan Barrage. Naruto was currently charging at another group of Oni with a Rasengan on each hand before ramming them into the guts of two unlucky targets, sending flying back and crashing into the others, then swiveled around to point an open palm at an Oni approaching with a white rune appearing before him, Chakra Cannon. Then he fired a large chakra sphere with the recoil pushing him back a bit to blast the Oni away from him. Naruto turned to see more Oni approaching to attack, he stretched his hand, and the Kasei no Ha which had latched onto his back earlier before, floated over for him to grab it and took a stance while the pheasant landed on his shoulder. "These guys keep on coming," said Naruto. "Not to worry Naruto-san, I'm sure Mamadoro-sama and the others are almost here," said the pheasant. "They better if they don't want to miss all the action." They both got ready to resume their offense when large boulders and wooden beams flew overhead and smashed into the Oni. They turned around to see Mamadoro and the group behind them with Twilight's hands glowing with her magic. "Sorry for taking so long to get here, but the time has come to overthrow these monsters." Mamadoro drew out his sword and charged at the Oni with Monkey and Dog running along him, while Twilight used her magic to levitate the rocks and wooden beams before launching them at the Oni. Not wanting to be outdone, Naruto and the pheasant joined in the battle. It was a total nightmare for the Oni who were wishing that they could wake up from it. Things were already bad enough when the pheasant and odd human were attacking them, now it is a whole lot worse with Monkey slashing at them with its claws, the dog biting with its powerful jaws. The human girl using strange magic to attack and the second male human cutting them with his sword, making it an utterly one-sided battle. The dust finally cleared to reveal the once numerous and arrogant Oni now lay defeated, while Naruto and the group standing victorious over them. They turn to face what appears to be the last red Oni who appears to be much larger than the rest, so they identified him to be the leader. The Oni leader humbly stepped forward and cast his iron club to the ground, then he went down on his knees at Mamadoro's feet and broke off his horns as a token of submission. "I truly fear your might," the Oni leader spoke meekly. "I know now that I stand no chance against you and your army. I will give you all of the treasure hidden in the castle if you spare my life." Mamadoro replied sternly, "It is unlike an Oni like you to beg for mercy, however I can't forgive you for all the atrocities you and your cohorts have done to the country for many years, no matter how much you beg." Then they tied the Oni up, with Naruto's clones to help the group search throughout the castle from top to bottom, and set the grateful prisoners free, and gathered all of the treasures in the rooms. Afterwards everyone made their return to their individual villages with some of the treasure which was stolen from them. Mamadoro escorted the two maidens back to their homes and delivered the Oni leader to the feudal lord to be judged for his crimes. The whole country rejoiced upon hearing that the Oni were defeated and hailed Mamadoro and his companions as heroes. As of now the group stood in the middle of the road with Dog and Monkey pulling a wagon laden with treasure and Pheasant perched on the railings. Mamadoro smiling sadly at Naruto and Twilight. "Are you sure that you have to go?" "I'm sure that my parents would have loved to meet you too," said Mamadoro. "We'd love to, but now we have to be getting ourselves home, our friends are waiting for us," said Twilight sadly. "Yeah, but it was truly an honor to fight alongside you and the others, that's something we'll never forget and that's a promise," said Naruto with a thumbs up. "It was an honor for us to be companions with you too." Mamadoro walked over to the wagon and reached into the pile and brought out a few items to give to them. "Please take these as a token of our friendship." He gave Twilight a small Japanese hair barrette which was adorned with colorful gemstones, and for Naruto, it was a ceremonial sword with a red and gold handle in a red sheath, embossed with a golden dragon curled around it several times. He pulled the sheath back to see a single-edged blade gleaming in the sunlight, and there was something etched into the blade, which was a kanji for hope. "Are you sure that you want to give us this?" asked Naruto. "You both actually deserve more than this, but I know you wouldn't want that," said Mamadoro, seeing them nod in confirmation. "We'll treasure these forever Mamadoro, I hope we can meet again," said Twilight. "We're really going to miss you too," said the monkey. "Me too," said the dog. "I'll never forget the fun times we had," said the pheasant. "Us too, like I said before I promised to never forget the good times we had," said Naruto. But that said, Naruto and Twilight waved goodbye at Mamadoro and the animals who in turn did the same. The duo walked quite a distance before stopping to rest a bit under an oak tree. "So have you thought of anything that could get us back to Equestria?" asked Naruto. "I was actually thinking of what is that?" Twilight pointed towards the sky, and Naruto looked up only to be surprised to see some sort of magic circle spinning above them. Suddenly the magic circle shot out a pillar of light which hit them before they could react and proceeded to lift them in the air towards it. Naruto grabbed Twilight and tried to create chakra wings in an attempt to escape, but the pull was too strong and they ended up getting sucked into the magic circle. "Twilight. Twilight, where are you?" Spike called out while looking around in the library, but there was no sign of the mare. "That's weird, normally she leaves a note behind before going anywhere for me to know where she was headed. Maybe I should go ask Pinkie Pie and the others, maybe they might know where she is." Spike turned and left through the front door in direction towards the sugar cube corner. The moment he shut the door, the brown leather book on the table radiated a wide aura again and floated into the air before flipping itself open, and a magic circle appeared only for Naruto and Twilight to fall out, having turned back into their pony forms. Ooh, I think we're back in Equestria. Naruto rubbed the back of his head to ease the pain. Yeah, it just proves that we really were transported into the world of the book. You even still have the sword that Madara gave to you, said Twilight. Naruto looked down and saw the ceremonial sword lying next to him, and he saw the hair barrette pinning up a part of Twilight's mane, making him blush at how it made her look beautiful. Twilight noticed that Naruto was gawking at her and blushed as well. They both approached the book and noticed that there was a picture on the front cover. It showed the dog, monkey and pheasant with Madara walking ahead of them with the title of the book above them. I never would have thought that I would experience a story in reality, said Twilight. Me neither, but I'm glad that we got to have something like that together, said Naruto with a smile. Me too, Twilight smiled back. Let's go have some snacks over at the Sugar Cube corner. I could come back later for the book after you read it. Sure thing, I really loved experiencing the story, but nothing beats reading for me. Haha, that's true. After sealing away their gifts, Naruto and Twilight left through the front door. What they didn't know was that the picture on the book changed to reveal Naruto and Twilight walking alongside Madara with smiles on their faces, and the title changed to Madara and his amazing friends for a moment before reverting back to normal. Chapter end. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Peace out.